do. One of my favorite lines is "Keep it simple, stupid."
Three, two, one.
So like, keep it simple, stupid.
So you were talking earlier about fixing the machine and working on the maintenance for the machine. What about your pieces? Like if let's say your Ruby armor piece, let's say that like snaps or something, how long does that take to fix as well? How long does it each piece go in if you have to make a repair?
It depends on the break. Like if it's a small break, like a corner of something like chips off or breaks off, I manage to keep the corner. Um, it should be a pretty quick fix, like 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because what I do, I also do this for joining a lot of 3D printed pieces if I'm like making a big thing with smaller pieces. I use a soldering iron to actually melt the pieces together because it's a much stronger bond than what super glue and even epoxy can make. Because like they're not just like having this liquid or gel or whatever, like just like create like a chain bond with it. You're actually melting the plastics together and joining them together that way, where like all your plastics together.
Okay.
And so like that's like the strongest way to put together. So typically I use a soldering iron to melt it in the back where the paint isn't, so where you don't see it. And then I may sometimes, depending on how strong I need it to be, I may wrap it a little bit if I can in like a clear vinyl to like help keep the front a little stronger. And I also may use a little bit of a combo of super glue or epoxy uh and melting the plastics. We call plastic welding. But you want to be careful when using a soldering iron or like any type of super high heat source with super glue because that emits super toxic fumes. And in severe cases, it can cause blindness. So you have to be very careful. I don't recommend doing it. Uh, but sometimes I do it to reinforce, and also you gotta use proper PPE with this stuff. You gotta use a respirator, especially in those cases, like got like full like seal goggles if you're gonna do that. But I haven't really had a situation where like I've gotten that extreme with a repair or something like that, but it can be. I have used a mix of glue and that before, but typically I'm very careful with my soldering iron and I just don't melt through too much to the point where it'll reach the other side with the super glue.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's kind of like I kind of like for repairs, I do it on the surface. But if I'm joining a part together when before it's even painted, I will just shove that thing in there and just like melt as much of that inner plastic together as I can.
So that's for the ironworking, you said?
That's with a soldering iron, yes.
Okay. How long does the let's say you're working on a your Iron Mancer. How long does the sovereign iron take to fix up the helmet or to fix up like even just the body part alone?
Like I said, it could vary widely depending on the repair or the combining process, depending on like what stage you're at, whether it's finished or if you're just putting the thing together for the first time.
Okay.
So like I said, it could take anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes, and if there's a lot of soldering involved, it could take like over an hour
Wow.
if it's like a big piece.
Wow. That's
So like yeah,
that's quite impressive with how much like I never would have thought that sovereign ironing work would have even gone into 3D printing
yeah,
for any of that. I always thought it was just take like sandpaper, sand it down, and you're golden. I never would have thought. Well,
that's
what?
for your post processing work when you're getting ready to paint it. Yeah, but there's been more to it to get like things combined and stuff like that.
Wow, that's insane. How much goes into 3D printing between all the electrical works, the ironing, the printing itself? You have to worry about the toxic fumes, and then also the content creations that you do for other people as well. You are, and you also said you work a 40-hour job a week, right?
Yep.
So that's impressive that you find time to even still be able to do all of this.
Well, it's a sacrifice. I don't have much time to do anything else. That's why like I want to take a good break from it because like I had to produce 10 episodes of an Iron Man series for my second Iron Man suit. And that was like a sponsored project through like three different companies. And the
Wow.
agreement was that I would start in April of last year and would get done for October of last year for New York Comic Con. So I had like a span of like 5 or 6 months, and I didn't even finish it in that because I had a bunch of other projects at the same time too, like that Yang arm, like Angel Dust Gun, like a few other things, like some odd commissions as well. So like I was juggling that plus work plus making the videos. And when you're making a project stuff like that, whether it's 3D printed sewing foam or whatever, or like any type of like making a cosplay or anything, it makes the process so much longer because you also have to figure out your camera angles. You have to figure out how you want to present it to your audience. You have to film it, which for some reason there's this weird odd mental thing where like when you're doing it on your own, like it physically goes quicker than while the camera's rolling. It's very weird. And then you have to take the time to edit the videos, make sure everything's right, make the thumbnails if you make your own thumbnails, which I started recently doing. And like just a whole bunch of things go into it that take extra time. So I was literally just working on these. Like I would wake up in the morning, immediately go to work, come home, work on these projects, go to bed. I was not doing like much else with my life, I'll be honest. Like I wasn't going to like community events or like family gatherings or anything like that. Well, at least luckily my family didn't really have anything going on at least, so that's good. Yeah, it takes a lot of time out of it if you're like crunching all these things for like deadlines and trying to get stuff done rather than like taking like a month or two and just like do like little by little by little because I mentally can't do that
Of course.
because whenever I start a project, that is my focus. I cannot just make it like a, oh, do a little here, do a little there thing. I cannot do that. That is just how I am mentally. If I start something, I I just keep busting on it until it gets done. That's just how I am. So
Okay.
like it's kind of exhausting after a while. So it's good to take breaks, and I'm finally doing that. So
Good.
yeah.
Good. Um, yeah, I recently started getting into the production business of
Mhm.
filmmaking and content creation. So I can understand how the filming, how the editing, the thumbnail making, all of that, it's tiring. It's
Mhm.
tedious. It's like I was just saying in another podcast, a lot of people don't see the behind the scenes stuff. They see the finished product.
Yep.
You know, they don't see the 40 hours a week of work that you do on a 9 to 5. They don't see
Mhm.
the wiring, the electrical stuff. I mean, I'm sure they do when you do the tutorial stuff,
Yep.
but on a normal basis, all they see is you in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, yeah, because
How
even
did you
in the
get there?
tutorials, it's a little different than how I actually do the process. Because like I'm actually having to like be slow with it, make sure that like how I'm doing everything is like at least visible to the camera, so that way you can see what I'm doing. Versus when I'm actually like sitting down and doing it on my own, I'm able to like get away with a couple things that aren't exactly conventional that I don't recommend people do because do as I say, don't do as I do.
Of course,
And also just like this and trying to like make things visible on the camera, you also have to sometimes get in very uncomfortable positions so that way you can make things visible. And what I mean by uncomfortable position is your hand. Get your mind out of the gutter. No kidding. But yeah, it's like it's not positions you normally get into when you're normally doing it. Because like soldering, for example, like normally I'll have my hands like this, but if my camera's like on a top view angle, I kind of have to like go do it like this. So like even the process is slightly different when you're actually doing it on your own versus having to present it because you actually have to make everything visible.
of
So
course.
like it's a whole thing.
Of course, it's in terms of filming, we were standing for 8 hours. We were standing for 8 hours. We were on the floor for some of those 8 hours. We were
Mhm.
following actors around. We were running. walking with the actors, sitting down in very odd positions at certain points. It's a lot that goes into filmmaking and editing and just content creation alone.
Yep.
People don't People take it for granted and they don't really see all the hard
There's
work that goes into it. And not only that, but a lot of people think that you have it finished. That's it. That's the one and done. No.
no, nope. You got to repeat this process at least 5 million times.
Yes.
And like even for like a simple video, like quote unquote simple video, for example, like a commentary about like a movie or something like that. For example, like one of my favorite YouTubers, Danny Gonzalez, like something like that seems simple. You sit down, you talk about something in front of a camera, and you show like clips throughout the video. What people don't think about is that you have to write a script. You have to like compile all these videos, whether it's like for sources that YouTubers don't disclose because we get in trouble.
Yes.
Um, nice script, by the way.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, like writing a script that like we're able to like you're able to present to the audience, and also having to choose out of like the hours of footage that you compiled from like whatever you're talking about from like a movie or show or whatever, having to choose the appropriate clips for
Yeah.
like whatever your talking points are, placing them in a certain way, do certain editing tricks, maintain audience retention, because that's another thing some people don't think about is how you have to edit videos to
Yeah.
retain your audience, like make some like something visually interesting by adding some effects, like do like funny zoom ins, add like overlays, special effects even, and just like constantly like kind of change how the camera looks. That way it keeps you engaged when you're seeing it. And just
Absolutely.
like how, and that also goes into how you present something. There's just a
Yeah.
billion things that goes into even the simplest content, if it's done right, of course, because
Yeah.
like you could literally just plop down and just sit in front of a camera and just drone on about something, but it may not go very well for you and not make for a very interesting video.
No.
So to do that kind of content, what no matter what it is, and make it interesting, make it fun and engaging for
Yeah.
your audience,
Yeah.
there's so much that goes into doing that, that like people just like, yeah, that looks easy. No, it's not. It's a
No.
whole you are basically running a production business on the side if you're doing
Yeah.
it as a hobby.
Yeah.
It is a production if you're doing it the best way you can.
It is. It is. Let me put it to you like this. This little thing here holds
Mhm.
about, I want to say, 8 to 10 clips of footage from the day that we were filming a few weeks ago, right?
Okay.
I have to sort through those 8 to 10 pieces of footage just to
Hmm.
pick out which one looks the nicest. Not even just
Yep.
which one sounds the
Different
nicest.
takes.
Yeah, which
Yep.
and different takes, not only just different takes,
Hmm.
same take from different angles of different cameras. That's
Oh
hours
yeah.
and hours of
Oh
work.
yeah. The camera angles of the same scene. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm the same as you. Once I start a project, I don't want to stop.
Hmm.
I've literally had been told at dinner tables, but at a restaurant before, stop working and eat. Listen, stop working and look at the menu. Figure out what you want. Like it's so mind consuming putting
Hmm.
together these things. You just want the people to that are watching to
Yeah, the whole two people that watch my content.
two
But
people.
yeah, yeah, part of that is like because like I have autism and ADHD, so that does not help
No.
my hyper obsession when I sit down and do something. That is what I'm doing. And if someone wants to drag me away to do something, like for example, like my
Yes.
uncle that I live with, every Saturday we go out in the morning to like do something, and I want to work on something, my mood immediately just crashes. If I get kept late at work, even though like it's not that big of a deal in reality, it's just
Right.
normal. But like if I like want to do something or have plans, or even sometimes if I don't have plans, because I'm used to getting out at 5 every day and that's my schedule, my mood for the rest of the day is just gone. I am just
Yep.
angry the rest of the day. That's just part of my autism.
I'm right there.
It's so fun to deal with.
Look, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you, man. Autism and ADHD right here as well.
Yep.
So right on the
Welcome to the
board there.
gang. It's very fun.
Completely understand. It is it is so when you can't get that like and I'm a perfectionist too on
Yep.
top. So if I can't get that little tiny detail to see, I'm not showing anybody the work until it's done,
Yeah.
until it's perfect in my eyes. Not only that, but I'm the type of person, right? So we're gonna film this, we're gonna edit it, and then I'm also gonna let you see it to make sure that you're good with it. So
Yep.
neither of us are gonna show it until it's good, you
Yeah,
know?
and then you have that thought like, oh, there's gonna be an issue. Somebody's gonna notice like maybe an issue that I didn't notice, or like whatever. And something with me with the ADHD is forgetfulness. So
Yes.
like even if I'm doing a quality control check on something, there's still stuff I might miss that just for some reason multiple times I do passes and I still don't see it. And there's been a couple times where I upload a video and it had that editing mistake in it. I'm just like, oh God, how did I miss that?
Or like if you're doing like the auto caption thing, right? And it
Mhm.
misspells something and you don't realize it until after you've uploaded it, you're just sitting there like, why?
Yeah, my main thing that I miss in editing sometimes is when I make a jump cut or I forget to delete a take. That take is still in there, and I completely forgot to delete it. So I have hardwired my brain. I just had to sit down and make myself focus on this. Where like whenever I'm doing a quality control check, that is the priority that I'm looking for to
Yeah,
make sure that I deleted every single clip that was either another take or part of a jump cut from like a large like from like a span of silence or like a long breath or something like that.
yeah.
So it's like that is like that's the type of stuff like when you're doing quality control checks, like if you go for every single thing and you end up missing like one thing and it gets uploaded, that just takes you all the way down. It's like, oh God,
It's
this sucks. Why did
it's
I
a
do? Why
whole
did I
other
upload
rabbit
this?
hole of extra work and extra um cuts and clipping and all that
Hmm.
stuff that once again the people watching don't see us doing,
Yep.
you know? It's mind-boggling how much work goes into content creation.
Yep.
It is.
Like for example, right on my main monitor, like the camera is sitting on top of my second monitor, which is where you're at right now. So when I look
Okay.
down, I'm looking at you. But on my first monitor over here, I have my final Iron Man video in the editing workshop because I want to try and get this thing out by August 2nd. And so the whole thing is over 50 minutes long right now. I'm gonna try and
Ooh.
shorten it a bit, but it's very, very heavy
Okay.
with some of the subjects it goes over. So if you were discretion advise on that. But I've been really focusing all day since like I want to say 12 or 1 before I jumped on the here at like 7 on this on out of all those 50 minutes just at this one section at the end that's 2 to 3 minutes long
Okay.
because it's more of like a cinematic-y type thing because I'm
Sure.
emulating like one of the things from Iron Man 3.
Nice.
And so like it's much more production work on that section because the majority of the video is just me sitting on the floor talking. But that like there's some sections of videos where it's much more of a production type thing where I have voiceovers, I put in different clips, I had to do a lot of color grading on them. I had to do this, that, and the other thing to try and like match everything up, synchronize with the music, audio balance, everything. God, don't get me started on audio balancing.
No,
Um,
no,
and yeah, it's the worst. And just like making sure like everything in that like small section that's like an actual like feels more like a professional like it's more I would like to call it amateur movie production level
it is. Yes, I will give you that.
because
Absolutely.
like I've like did a couple professional shoots for this, so I'm very excited to show some of those shots I did with some buddies, and it looks really good. I'm very happy with it. But of course, like anything, there's a couple things in it that I wish would change. I can't change the posts because I don't know how to do special effects. Like example, there's this one clip in there where my buddy's reflection clear as day in my car, and I can't get rid of that because I don't know VFX. And we did, and for some reason I don't know why we didn't think of this. We didn't we didn't have him shoot my car at like a different angle where his reflection was not showing my car. Instead we just did it straight on. It's like the most amateur filmmaking mistake,
Of
period.
course.
And I don't blame him because like I said, I also direct when I
Okay.
like get these clips. So I'm the director. I'm telling him, okay, you stand here, you walk this way, you do this, that, here's what I'm going to be doing. And so I'm going to need you to, like, I do all of that. So that is on me ultimately that I completely didn't even think that his reflection was going to be in my car panel.
Of course.
So it's like stuff like that.
Yes.
But you know what? It's fine because if anything, it's kind of funny. Because, like, yes, it's supposed to be more serious videos, stuff like that, but it's like those subtle, like, even in serious things, because it's just how it is, how I am. I like having like at least some sort of like funny things or jokes in there where, like, if they're subtle, like his, like, a man in full Adidas sweat gear being in
Yeah.
the reflection of my car. And like, it's small stuff like that I just find really funny. It's like, hey, if someone notices it, maybe they'll get a laugh too.
And it's a learning curve too, right?
Yeah.
So funny enough that you said that we were filming. I told you earlier we were filming a movie last October.
Mhm.
Um, w- one of my buddies had the flicker lights on to make like a
Mhm.
hard effect go on, and the I can't tell you too much about it, but one of the characters
Yeah.
wears a mask
Mhm.
in it, and in the mask is a reflection of my buddy sitting there
Ah,
flickering the lights on, and we can't edit that out. We don't know how to.
that like that is the pain trying to like film with like super glossy and reflective things, because you have to
Yes,
find the perfect angles so that way your light doesn't bounce off a certain way where you can tell it's a studio light or something,
absolutely.
or like you don't see like your cameraman, you don't see people in the background of production, like your like the director, who, like, production assistants, anything like that. And that's like the really annoying thing of filming super glossy, super reflected stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So it's all about trying to find those angles. And if you absolutely can't, well, I really hope you know someone who's really good at VFX.
That is
I
that's something that I
Because yeah, it's able to be removed, but you have to be really good at it.
yes. So speaking of the production aspect of it, that actually leads me to my last question for you.
Yeah.
Um, from creating content, from creating videos and props and wiring and you know all the stuff that you talked about tonight, what is it that you hope for this company? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And how do
I
you
didn't know it was in a job interview.
well, I shouldn't say company, your project.
Yeah. So like I said, I want to start focusing more on the entertainment side. So like work wise, I'm probably gonna stay at this job as long as I can, just because like I'm at a pretty decent paying job for what I'm physically doing. I got
Of course.
like good benefits. And so like I don't see a need to like move to a different job. But outside of that, I would love to make like either YouTube or some form of entertainment, like voice acting, like physical acting, or just like some sort of like entertainment, like even like doing like like comedy stuff like that. I would love to do something in the entertainment industry. Like that's what I've wanted to do since I was a child. And hell, I'm, like I said, I'm even like decent at editing. I know how to direct. I know camera work. So like I know a bunch of things. I'm accruing knowledge on all these things. So that way I could really do whatever I want.
Of
So
course.
like I want to keep myself flexible. So if I find myself drawn to this one particular thing, I can go ahead and do it. But if I get tired of that one thing, well, guess what? I know how to do this other thing, so I can try this out for a good while. So it's like I'm trying to build up like my skills as an entertainer as well, being comfortable by talking to the well, I am comfortable talking to the camera now, but like being able to like present myself in a certain way, being able to like make jokes just off the cusp and be like very quick-witted, which I've been getting better at, and like making better jokes and just being an overall better entertainer. uh so like I'm trying to like build up those skills that way I can make it like an actual career,
Uh,
if I can. So if I can make that into a career, then I'm not going to work at my current job. But
of
if
course.
I don't, well, then I'm going to do it on the side, maybe as a side hustle, because like voice acting, get some side money, do some side acting, YouTube, earn from that. So like there's a lot there's a lot of options out there. Like the world's my oyster basically.
Yes, it
So
is.
it's the future is very exciting and I have a lot planned. Heck, behind me, I don't know if my camera will focus, but I have a guitar, if you see it sitting there, that I just bought last week.
Very nice.
So I want to learn how to play that too and learn how to do music because I don't have that bad of a singing voice, I think. And according to my friends, I don't.
Well,
So we'll see how if it's biased or not.
we'll we'll have to touch back up and see where you are in a later podcast and catch up with how everything's going.
Yeah, absolutely. This was great.
Um, the other thing too, like I said earlier, I'm in the film business, so
Mhm.
maybe there's a role there for you in one of my scripts. So
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you got something and I have the availability and if I'm good enough to do it, because like again, I'm very amateur, so like I need to get better at it. But I would absolutely love to take a look and see if I can do something.
absolutely. Well, Kira, thank you for coming on tonight and chatting with us about 3D printing and cosplaying. It was very eye-opening on what goes on with it. There's so much
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
many people don't think goes into it, and thank you for shedding a light.
Yeah. Hey, it was an absolute pleasure and thank you for having me on.
Of course, man. Well, everyone, this is going to conclude the episode for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to check out Kier Creates on YouTube, Instagram. You're on Facebook as well, I believe.
God no.
um,
God no.
so be
Don't even ask me about I keep I keep wanting to say Twitter. I know it's X, but I'm not calling it X. I'm
I'm
sorry.
not calling it that either.
God, it's horrible. Anyway.
Be sure to check out his socials, and he's got plenty of tutorials and plenty of videos for you to check out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you, and have a good night, man.
Hey, you as well, man. Thank you.